Hey, sports sim fans, Bob here. Today I want to talk to you about one of the several baseball sims I'll be doing this spring and summer and probably into the fall, to be honest with you. I'm going to be doing a bunch of different ones in Strat-o-matic and out of the park baseball. Today, I want to share with you the one I'm doing with Strat-o-matic card and dice. It is called the Diamond Gem League. I've actually ran this league last year as well. You may have seen a video I put out last year. I don't think it's up anymore. I might have taken it down. But basically, I'm using the Diamond Gem series, um, the '90s series, both the A set and the B set. So bought both of those sets a few years back and created this Diamond Gem Sim League using card and dice. And so I'm going to be doing it again this year, and I'm excited to get started on it. I want to show you a little bit about how I have it all set up and how I'm going to be running the league. So, um, the Diamond Gem Series A and B for the card dice consists of 16 total teams. So what I did was I'm kind of a I like things to be as realistic as possible. And a couple of the sims I'll be doing this year will be a little bit out of the box, a little bit different. But for this one, I'm trying to stay, tried and true to, the way baseball was in the '90s, how the teams were arranged. When I was growing up, I remember, like, for example, the Brewers were in the American League. So when they moved to the National League, that was a shocker for me. But they're not in this set. But I tried to align the teams as best I could with where they would be in the American National League, and it's pretty easy with this set. It's pretty straightforward. Although Houston, I have Houston here in the National League and not in the American League, just as an example. So, okay, so the Diamond Gem League consists of two leagues: the American League and the National League. No big surprise there. 8 teams in the American League, 8 teams in the National League. These are the 8 teams in the American League. They're all going to be in one single division. So we've got the 1990 Oakland Athletics, the 1991 Minnesota Twins, which is my squad, the one I'm always rooting for, the 1992 Toronto Blue Jays, 1995 Cleveland Indians, 1996 New York Yankees, 1997 Baltimore Orioles, 1997 Florida Marlins, and the 1998 New York Yankees. So I got 2 Yankees teams in there. And I'm not specifically playing for one single team. I'll be playing all the games with all the teams, but secretly we'll be rooting for the Twins. Um, the National League teams in the Diamond Gem League are the 1990 Cincinnati Reds, 1990 Pittsburgh Pirates, 1993 Philadelphia Phillies, 1993 San Francisco Giants, 1994 Montreal Expos, 1996 Atlanta Braves, 1998 Houston Astros, and the 1998 San Diego Padres. So, like I said, there'll be these 2 leagues, the American League and the National League. Couple of things: no interleague play. Each team in each league will play each other twice, once at home and once on the road. Um, and at the end of the season, the top 4 teams in each league will advance to the playoffs, and they'll be seeded 1 through 4. Um, and one will play 4, and 2 will play 3. If there is a tie, it'll be decided on head to head. So the head to head series during the regular season. And if there's still a tie, even after that, then it'll be based on run differential. So who scored the most runs during their both their series during the regular season, and hopefully there won't be a tie with that. If there is, then I will resort to a play-in game to decide how the final seeds sit. Um, so that's going to be kind of how the playoffs are going to be run. Um, and then I've set up this kind of matrix just to keep track of. Um, I don't have like a game schedule laid out. I'm just kind of going on to be honest with you, just kind of a little bit of like what teams I feel like playing. So I do know for sure the first series that will kick off the season will be the 1991 Twins at home in the Metrodome in Minneapolis against the 1990 Oakland Athletics. So that's going to be the first series I'm going to play just because it's the kickoff to the season. The Twins are my squad. And so I'm going to start with them. That's going to be the first series. I'll probably alternate, do one 3-game series in the American League, and then I'll play a 3-game series in the National League. So I've got the matrix all set up so I can keep track of what games I played and which ones I haven't yet. So here's the National League one that I have set up. And then what I do is I have, so I track all of this in Google Sheets. Every single game with every single player's stats from that game. And the reason why I do that is I set up really 2 things. Number one, I will create some data visualizations of player statistics and all that. And I use Looker Data Studio, which is a Google product. So it works really, really well with Google Sheets. And it's a great place to, build a dashboard and put all the stats and, all the statistics in there. But then also, this setup allows me to look at a individual player's individual game performance. So I can track things like hitting streaks and single game records, most hits in a game, most RBIs in a game, things like that. So this sheet gets pretty exhaustive. So I've already loaded in the lineups for the first 3 games. So you can see the games down the left side here with the team, the player, and then whether or not they were home or away and who the opponent was. So I literally will be able to write some code if I want to be able to say, what players in the American League had the most hits versus the Oakland Athletics at their home field. Like I can get pretty granular on the different things I want to see in the different, and that's because I'm a stat junkie. So those are the kind of things I want to. I love when you're watching a sports game and they throw some obscure, statistic at you. That's the kind of stuff I like. So this allows me to really have the metadata for each player for each game. I know what pitchers they faced, and so it really just allows me to really kind of dig in and find some really cool stats. So I've already loaded up the Twins lineup: Gladden, Knobloch, Puckett, Herbeck, Davis, Mack, um, um, Pegs, Harper, and Gagney. And then for the Athletics, Henderson, Langsford, Canseco, McGuire, Henderson, Baines, Galliago, Steinbeck, and Weiss. And so I've got them all ready to go. So when these games are done, I will load their stats in, and they'll dynamically show up in a dashboard, which I'll show you in a different video once I've got that built. And I already know who the starting pitchers are going to be for the first series, just to show you an example. And these sheets will get large. There will be hundreds, if not thousands, of records in these sheets. The only bad thing about using Google Sheets is when these sheets get large with lots of data, it's a little slow. So that is one thing that I would prefer to run this out of like a localized Microsoft Excel sheet or workbook, but it just doesn't work as well for a lot of the data visualizations I want to build and stuff like that. Eventually, I'd like to move all this kind of stuff to Microsoft Excel and maybe build some of those reports in like Power BI. So if you're a techie, you know what I'm talking about, and I will share all this stuff as I build it, because that's one of the things I enjoy most about doing these projects is collecting the stats and doing graphs and charts and interesting visualizations of the data. So anyways, back to the pitchers. Dave Stewart and Jack Morris will face off in the first game. of the series. Kevin Tapani for the Twins and Bob Welch for the A's in Game 2. And then Scott Erickson and Scott Sanderson will face off in Game 3. And that'll be the kickoff to the Diamond Gem League season. Probably going to start rolling those dice tomorrow. I think tomorrow will be the first game, and then I'll try to roll one game a day if I can at night, and maybe a few more on the weekends when I got more time. It's still rainy and snowy up here in Minnesota in early March, so good excuse to stay in and roll some dice and start playing this season through. One thing I'm thinking about doing is purchasing a couple other projects I'm thinking about doing. I'm thinking about buying the Diamond Gem set from the 80s and then have the 80s versus the 90s. I'm also thinking about rearranging some of the leagues based on geographic location. I'm thinking about taking all the west side of the U.S. versus the east side of the U.S. That's another project that I'm toying with doing. And then I also do want to do some sort of draft. Just all the players become free agents. The teams hold the draft. So I'm trying to think about how I want to do that. So that's another project that I'm looking at for this summer. So I have a lot of baseball, sim, card and dice out of the park coming up. I'm super excited. I pre-ordered Out of the Park 26, so I will have that here in just a week, and we'll be setting up a bunch of different saves in Out of the Park as well. So, but this is the Diamond Gem League that'll be going throughout the summer, and I'll be providing updates. And like I said, I'll show you some of the reports and dashboards and some of the cool visualizations on our build. So I will show that to you as well. Would love comments, feedback. Have you done anything with the Diamond Gem set of the 90s with Strat-o-matic card and dice? I would love to hear it. Otherwise, we'll see you in the next one.